All right. This guy, he's a good friend of mine. He emceed his own night last night at the Port Mahon, and let me tell you, he makes this stuff look hard. Will you welcome to the stage, Mr. Nate Kitch!
You won't be coming back to the flat, so you've that ship sailed. Don't woo it, laugh it. Please, this is the serious bit. Pick a card.
Yes, please.
Okay. What is the name of the card that you have?
Judas? I don't. What do you mean? What is the name of the card I have?
Well, what card do you have in your hand?
7 of Diamonds.
7 of Diamonds. Congratulations, you now own the 7 of Diamonds. That's the first joke. I can't make you enjoy them. You have to want to enjoy them. I have a clear idea of what I think is funny. You're welcome. I've written, we all know one-liners, one-liner kind of jokes.
Yeah.
Would you like to hear my one-liner that I wrote?
Yes!
Let's get this going. Okay, here we go. I used to think I was indecisive, but then I decided to commit to writing a one-liner, and there was no going back. You might think this paper is far too big for a simple one-liner, and perhaps a mere piece of A4, or maybe even 5, A5, would suffice. But that is just your opinion, and whilst it is valid and stands on its own 2 feet, almost a laugh, I also stand on my own 2 feet, at the height of about 6 feet on this stage, the one you were looking at, as a comedian, and I am in charge. My equally valid hashtag opinion and subsequent hashtag content will be heard. And whilst that content... And whilst that content may not contain any jokes, again, we are looking at personal opinion or subjective forms, which by their very nature lack specificity, which ironically isn't a real word, or is it? By me verbalising that form, does it not become part of lexicon, and thus a real word? Or in fact, was its utterance simply a comedic device applied by me, the comedian? Because it's hard to know, isn't it? Some of you might be considering, is this funny? Or maybe perhaps, is he ripping this whole segment from a sheet of scrambled locutions? Which again, is a feeble attempt at some sort of joke via wordplay. But remember the earlier point, in some ways, all of your responses are valid, as they are abstract. Like this. Not this, the act, this, the word, the world we inhabit, and lives we lead. The sheer absurdity of living. I am Samuel Beckett, right? But to your earlier point, about the very words I am reading to you now. If someone wishes to do so, but only one, please, police yourselves. We can't have you all up here. So if someone, and only one, does want to come up here and have a look, you can confirm I am reading and verbalising these previously written pieces of prose, or one singular piece of prose. Again, it's your opinion. And do so by simply having a scan without interrupting, and then just a thumbs up or something to confirm that I am, if anything, not a liar. Audience member. Thanks for choosing / opting out of volunteering. Remember, every opinion is personal and valid. It is at this point in the one-liner that I reckon, because remember, this is pre-prepared, people will either be really invested in this or sick to the very teeth with it, and subsequently me, possibly a disgruntled male, over there, or table rolling their eyes. Not a literal table, that wouldn't make sense, would it? I wouldn't come up here and try and deliver a piece to you that talked about a bizarre table that not only had eyes, but also the ability to roll said eyes in a sort of protest of expression of its disdain at this inanity, proper word, of the form I have constructed, a supposed one-liner. But lest we forget, this and this inanity, this is a one-liner. You will find no punctuation mark or full stops in this written work. Possibly at the end, I have not finished nor decided that bit yet. However, you will find the words in tandem, full stop, 3 times, because I wrote it in the previous line to that line about this one, didn't I? The words full stop. And I bet you wish this piece of comedy, and it is comedy, would fully stop. And it will soon enough. There is, after all, only so much paper to scribe upon, and I'm aware some of you will have drifted in and out of this, clouded by the very thought of when this very merry bit might end, which is sort of meta when you think about it. Some will have been trying to work out how far down the page I am at this point, and for those, I am genuinely and literally, sure, why not, 36.9 centimetres done, with 23.3 centimetres to go. Is that good? Is that what you want? You think it's an effort to simply sit through this? Imagine being the comedian, and I am a comedian, who has to sit there filling this whole sheet of A2 paper with a whole section which may proceed to me dying on my arse to a room of bemused, irritated civilians. Imagine further being the being, a human being, because yeah, I am human, even if I resort to inhumane structures of comedy. Imagine, yeah, what it's like for me, living with this mind. You lot get to go home. I'm with this mind, my mind, by and large, for all of my experience of time. Time itself, the time I choose to invest, sat in a pair of burgundy, or possibly burgundy jogging bottoms, just trying anything to get a cheap laugh, or at least a wondrous and rapturous applause by the conclusion of this performance. And if an applause break did, or attempted to break out there prematurely, know that I am livid, because I don't like applauses to spoil my meal of laughter. I very much like to complete my banquet with applauses for pudding, and to be honest, even I am starting to get sick of this concept now, but I've started my meal, and I don't ever like to leave food on my plate. No matter how hostile or jovial or aggressive or impatient or confused or unsympathetic my company, which I've kept around this metaphysical table may be, at the end of the day and at the end of the one-liner, because lest we forget, brackets callback, this is a one-liner. And I only wanted you to laugh. I seek no pleasure, smugness or personal gain here. This is all for you, the audience. The buck stops with you, and possibly sadly for you, the one-liner does not. But in a way, it almost does. Looking ahead, then out to you lot. Then back at the page. I reckon there's only about 4 lines left. And this line has literally only been written to give you the context of how long a line on this sheet may take to say. 3 lines left now, and it really is almost over. I'm not getting sick of the sound of my own voice or running out of sweet content. 2 lines now as we reach the punchline to this whole boxing match of a joke, and it is a joke. And just as I battered you to death with over 51 complete lines, the 52nd of which we currently occupy in an incomplete form, to go now, 1 to go now. On the last one, please know that my name is Nate Kitch. I'm very, 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 really good with words. I'm very thankful, and I can't decide whether I'll perform this brackets did an extra line again, so I guess the take home, regardless of what you think of my comedy, I'm certainly a misleading liar. Please turn over. Cheers for your time. Again, I've been Nate Kitch. Pause for atmosphere. See you later.
Well. Make Kitch, everyone.